Find other great podcasts like this one at podmoth.network.
Hey, podcast lovers. My name is Hayley, and I run the Doe Identify Podcast. I have been passionate about helping the unidentified get their names back ever since I found out I lived within miles of where Sherry Ann Jarvis, formerly known as the Walker County Jane Doe, was found. In my podcast, I tell the stories and provide information about unidentified people in hopes of reaching their loved ones and getting their names back. So come join me and help me advocate for these people. You never know, you could recognize someone's story.
Hey, what's up, you guys?
Hey, what's up, you guys?
I'm Kathryn,
And I'm Hayley,
and we are Saturdays for the Ghouls.
a Podmoth Podcast.
How are you doing, Hayley?
I'm good, Kathryn. How are you?
Good. It's Hayley's week, and Hayley's going to bring you a topic of an experience that she had.
Yeah.
If we're going to be travel buddies today and go on a little trip to Vegas. Is that what we're doing?
I'm literally breaking the number one rule of Vegas is what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
No, we're going with you. We're here. We're in Vegas right now.
Okay. We're in Vegas. So it's going to be very chaotic and very unlinear, and I apologize because the place that I'm going to talk to you about, minimum knowledge of this place, because that's the way that this person wanted it to be. And when you get there, you literally can't take pictures of anything. So it's all coming from the noggin. So I'm really glad. I'm really glad it wasn't you that went on this trip.
Excuse me. I would have remembered every single detail. No, probably not. TBH.
Yeah.
Haley, I'm ready to hop into it if you are.
So about 2 weeks ago, you would say?
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
Right. So about 2 weeks ago, me and my fiance and some friends went to Vegas as a little trip. We went to that music festival, Sick New World. Pretty sick. I didn't die as much as I thought I would there because, Vegas, desert,
dry heat.
hot, dry heat, exactly.
But
But it was
than
actually,
humid.
oh yeah, it was actually very nice because breeze and shiz. Anyway, we basically had to, over 2 or 3 days, just technically only 2 because Saturday, the one day was just specifically for the festival. But so for 2 days, we basically crammed as much as we could to experience Vegas as much as we could. And the first thing that me and my fiance did when we got there was we went to Zak Bagan's Haunted Museum. And I thought it would be very interesting to talk about it because this place is massive. And if you look it up and research, you can find like some things, like highlights, I would say, but literally bare minimum information about the history of this place and what is even inside this place. And it's definitely kept unknown.
I have a question. Are we going to get in trouble for talking about this on a podcast?
I don't think.
Did you sign like something like an NDA before you went in there saying that you wouldn't talk about it?
No, the only thing that we have to sign is basically saying that we wouldn't sue them if something happened to us.
Like you got possessed.
Yes.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Did you read what you signed?
So they have us sign it when we get there, when we get there. And then we also have to recite it before we even go on the tour. And it's literally just saying like no flash photography, no cameras, no phones, nothing. And then that they are not responsible if anything happens to you or if you get hurt.
Perfect.
Oh, but we're also relying on my noggin. So I have no proof of this.
We actually could just be lying to you guys.
Yeah.
We could have never gone and just said that this is all the stuff that's there, that she
Exactly.
remembers.
Exactly.
So allegedly, all of this stuff is there. The only reliable source is Haley's brain.
Yeah, so I have my noggin, and then I have a few tidbits that I did find online, mainly from the website itself for the museum, because it's just, I was like, am I crazy? Because there's literally nothing. Like nothing that goes into great detail.
They want it to be exclusive. People who
Yeah.
get to go and see it, people who don't.
I would probably go again. I'd want you to go with me.
I would totally love to do anything with you, obviously, ever, because you're my best friend. Okay?
True.
But I am very scared of things that could haunt me. Like I'm afraid of videos that look like they are made to curse you or haunt you, probably from The Ring or whatever. So I'm just I'm just not in that realm. And so anytime I think about doing something that I could potentially get haunted from, which it's not given that I could get haunted here, but they make you sign something that's like, it's not our fault if you do. It's scary, but I would do it for you. And I would totally go and see it.
We don't scare too easily unless it comes to a certain topic that we don't talk about on here because, yeah.
Mostly me and get scared. I feel like I can power through SWs if I had to. It's just that I get scared thinking about it. But I can power through anything. I am a trooper when it comes to horror movies, scary stuff. Like I can power through something. I'm a queen of disassociating. So if it gets way too scary, I just check out of the brain, I black out, and I come back when it's not so scary. Don't worry, I'm working on it. I'm working on it with my therapist. But anyway, that being said, I would not research a topic of SWs, but if you wanted to do SWs for the podcast, I would power through for it.
Okay.
I think we have talked about some forms of SWs during our cryptid ones, but we've never gone deep into SWs. And I think you could totally do that. But I will not be doing that. And we will have to record during daylight time. I will not be doing that in the dark.
Oh, that'll be scary.
Anyway.
All right. So let's dive into my experience. This is basically just me as your bestie, just with my experiences that I had and what I remember being in that museum. Sadly, it was 2 weeks ago, so a lot of it is probably gone. But I will try my best to go room by room.
Take us through a little trip in your mind, Hayley.
All right. Oh, that's a lot of internal screams. Y'all don't want to hear that.
What exactly is the place called?
It's called Zak Bagan's Haunted Museum.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't know who Zak Bagans is, he is the main head honcho of the show on the Travel Channel called Ghost Adventures. And so I used to watch Ghost Adventures all the time with my mom, and I love the show so much, even if it is very over dramatic at times, especially Zach with his fucking sparkly shirt. So, I love Zach. Anyway, Aaron's my favorite though. I love Aaron. Even though
he's
he
giving very Grave Encounters.
Oh,
just you guys will remember Grave Encounters. It's like a parody mockumentary of Ghost Adventures, but it's also scary.
So Kathryn's seen it before. I hadn't seen it at that time. And literally we were watching it and I was like, this is giving me Ghost Adventure vibes. This man is acting so much like Zak Bagans and I love it.
Yeah. I think his name was Preston or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, man. Anyway, Zach decided he bought this house that was built in 1938 for a family. And of course, it's lots of deaths since 1938. Come on. A lot of people have died there. So he bought that house. And honestly, when you get there, it looks so small. It looks like just a normal little house, 1-story house, whatever. Maybe has 3 bedrooms. It's really tiny. So the outside is very misleading because on the outside it looks small. And then when you go to check in, you have to walk around this corner and it's all black fence, gated in. And you go around and there's music playing. It's very immersive and atmosphere. That's 20% of it is the music and just atmosphere or whatever. It's you go around and then there's a little waiting area outside and there's just gargoyles everywhere. And then you get into a group of 12 and they let you come into what I thought was the house. You walk into this little area that's inside the house technically, but it's just the little waiting room where you're waiting for your tour guide. And in that room, that's where you can buy tickets. It's where you can upgrade because they have a regular ticket that's $47, which isn't bad, honestly. And then they have an RIP, which is basically the VIP experience that you can upgrade it to that. And I wanted to do it so bad, but we were like, it'll be fine. Like, we don't need to. Literally, like, all of our group except like me, Bailey, and 2 other people did the VIP. And we all go together. Like, they don't go separately from us, but we all go as a group. But in this waiting area is also like a set of bathrooms, and all along the wall is just all these little dolls and like creepy things. And there's this like animatronic, like clown, like puppet thing that you can mess with. And it's just creepy things. And on the wall is like the motto, like saying, flash photography, turn your phones off, whatever. And as we're waiting for our tour guide, she comes out and she's the general manager of the place, which I thought was cool.
Oh.
And she basically, she was like, all right, everybody turn their phones off. And she didn't watch all of us, but it felt like that she was like going to go around and be like, okay, turn your phones off. Like, she needed like confirmation that you turned your phone off, which I thought was crazy because usually people are like, all right, turn your phones off, but they don't take it too seriously. But yeah, that was already like, I was like, oh, this is going to be creepy. But basically they said that the museum is under like constant surveillance and like EMFs and whatever, because it's also under like constant surveillance for like ghost activity, and that your phones will mess with like the electromagnetic fields and all that, which makes sense. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's fair. And then right after that, we were guided back out toward the little gargoyle area. Then we went around another corner, and then that's when we entered the house officially. And it's, again, 1938. It looks old. It's very like Gothic manor, creepy, like dimly lit. It's so dark in there. And it was so sunny that day. So literally, like, my eyes are like adjusting.
You go in the daytime?
We did.
Okay.
We went in at 10:30. Like, that was our time.
AM? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right off the plane, went to the hotel, and then dropped our stuff off, and then went to the place.
Wow.
So yeah, it was, we tried, like I said, we were packing the days, man. We had
you
no
gotta
time.
do it. That's what you gotta do.
Exactly. The first little room, like this is basically where she explains like how it's going to go, how long it's going to be, how many rooms there are, and whatever. We get in this little room. You're just surrounded. All types of artifacts. There's like dolls. There's this big dollhouse thing that's really creepy. That was like one of the main things in that room, that it apparently is like a demon portal. And they had the Zoltar machines that like the fortune teller. So there's one of those, but instead of it being Zoltar, it's Zak Bagan's. And only one person. Basically, it was like whoever can pull $1 out fastest got to do it.
I would have been out as soon as they said pull out $1 because I don't have cash ever.
True. What's funny is we actually had cash on us because we specifically brought like a certain amount of cash to like gamble with. But I was like, there ain't no way I'm going to be fast, because like I had to get my wallet out of my backpack anyway. But yeah, so that room was literally creepy. And then the VIP people, they got to go into this little room. There's a little tiny doorway that they got to go through. And if I remember correctly, it's just a row. It's like a hallway of dolls, like just staring at you. And there's like some type of like dark energy in there, they said. And the tour guide was like, just continue through. Don't say anything, just go. And I just remember I zoned out so many times that she was talking, because I'm like looking at everything and I'm just trying to like take it all in. But I'm also like getting creeped out by a few of the things. They just give off this like eerie vibe. And then also there's like eerie music playing. There's some fog going on. Like, they got fucking like fog in the house.
Of course they do.
And I was just like, oh my God, which also, it's hard to breathe in there. But yeah, but overall, this So this museum, I'm not going to remember all of them. It's a 13,000 square foot house.
So
And it had-
13,000?
Yes,
That's huge.
exactly.
Okay.
It's a 13,000 square foot house, over 33 rooms to go through. And the tour took with waiting and everything, it's about 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
But
That's a long time.
I know. So the tour guide said that it was a 90-minute tour. No, it was like 2.5 at least.
So for the spooky babes that if they are thinking about going, which I don't even know if you are or not, but how accessible is it for people who have other needs? Like people who are bigger or people who have AIDS in some sort. Is it accessible at all? Or would they not be able to go?
So I am a big girl too. I feel like, so for general admission, I feel like you'd be okay. The only part that might be hard is a part later where you're in like this like fun house type room, and it has like a bunch of like actual jar specimens of people born with deformities.
Yeah.
And you go up these stairs, and I fit fine, but then there was this hallway where like the tour guide lady was like, "Hey, just letting you know there's no actors in here, so if you get touched by something, it's not an actual person." And there's a hallway that's just lined with a bunch of like animatronics and like clowns.
Oh my gosh.
And I was able to walk straight, but I could
Yeah.
definitely feel like, of course they're going to touch me. Like that's all I could think of was like,
Right.
if I get touched, it's just because I'm going to touch it with my body because
Right.
I'm maneuvering around it.
Right.
That's the only part I remember per se. But for VIP though, there is a part where it is optional. Like most of the things are optional for that are quote unquote like too creepy or whatever. But there's a room where you go in, and it's what's her name? It's a room basically set up like a church, and the chairs are they're like the foldable chairs,
Oh, okay.
but you can stand too. You don't have to sit. But we did. You're not in that room for long, so I don't know why there's chairs, but I guess you could sit if you want. Me and Bailey sat, but we sat like in the front, and there's way more than 12 chairs, so you can definitely like all be spread out, whatever.
Right.
But there's a VIP part where after that, in that room, they tell you about what the room's about, and it's basically about Annalise Mitchell, I think that's her name. She's the girl that got possessed, or she had exorcism done on her, and she's the inspiration for the movie Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, one of the most infamous ones that I can think of. So that I didn't even know that was there, but they had like pictures of it and the infamous picture of like her face and whatever. But there's the VIP part off to the left of the room. It's really dark, but it's a small little square that's maybe 3-4 feet off the ground. And you have to like crawl. So that's why I was like, maybe not that one. I also don't know what's in there because I didn't get VIP. Basically, they were saying that in that room is the dark energy that they contained in there, and you can go in and experience it if you want, but you don't have to, and whatever.
Did people not go in there? Or did everyone who had VIP go in?
Everyone went in. So the people that had VIP, it was this group of girls and one guy, and the guy was one of the girls' boyfriend. And it felt like the two girls, I think it was two girls, like two of them were like huge, like fans of the show, and they're all like excited, whatever. And then their friend with the boyfriend, she just seemed like this was not her thing. So
I'm just making my friends happy for being here.
Pretty much. So I felt bad because when her friends were like, "Oh, hell yeah, let's go." And she did not want to go, but she still went.
Hey, kudos.
And by the end of the tour, she was fine. I fully expected her to just fucking quit because at any time you can leave
Oh, okay.
and be like, "I can't do this anymore," or whatever.
And
But yeah,
you said there were stairs, so someone who had a wheelchair could not go.
exactly. I don't think so. I don't remember seeing a ramp or anything.
They probably didn't want to modify the house much more than they did. So it's probably as old as it can be
Yeah.
with being up to code.
Yeah. I was like, there's definitely, yeah. There's little steps into the rooms. There's steps everywhere. Yeah.
And then are there seating in a lot of the rooms, or is it
Just
one
that
room?
one.
So someone who like couldn't stand for a long time, like 3 hours, probably would not have a lot of fun. But they could go and tap out whenever they were done. So just for you spooky babes that had any kind of questions, there's your answers. And every place is optional, and you can just go for when you want if you want.
Exactly. Like, I did pretty fine. I didn't get too worn out, which was nice because you're also not constantly walking. Like, it's a lot of you walk a few feet, you stop, and then you like are in that room for 10 minutes and then yeah.
And if it would make sense that it would be 3 hours if there's 33 rooms.
Exactly.
If you're there for 10 minutes per room, like roughly. So that would make sense that you're there for like almost 3 hours.
That's why I was like 90 minutes. I was like, that doesn't seem right. And it definitely was not. But yeah, so that was one of the rooms in the beginning is the Annalise Mitchell or Mitchell room. That one freaked me out a little bit. So that one stuck in my brain because they play the actual audio of like her demon growls and like talk and stuff. And it's creepy as shit.
From the movie or
from the actual recordings. Yeah.
Crazy. My ear holes would not have loved that.
Literally, as we're walking into that room, our tour guide said, keep positive thoughts the entire time.
Oh my God. The
And I like
paranoia I would have going into these rooms if she was saying that stuff. So keep positive thoughts. You don't know what's going up in this noggin.
Exactly.
Sometimes my positive thoughts are few and far between.
I was like, I'll try to stay as positive as I can. So like the whole time I was just trying to just look at Bailey and just not think about it.
I thought you were going to say, the whole time I was thinking of you, Kathryn.
Oh.
It's fine. He's your fiance.
I know. I did think about you too, though. I'm not just saying that.
It does sound like you are just saying that.
I'm not.
I believe you. It's fine.
You and Bailey make me the happiest. You more than Bailey.
Me first. Yeah. He knows his place. In case you guys don't remember, Bailey is her fiance now. Oh, fiance. I don't know if we told them. She got engaged. It was a long time ago. Well, we told you. It was during our break, I think.
I feel like we did, like when we came back.
No,
but I don't.
It was in October, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just in case you were wondering, Bailey is the fiance of Hayley. Bailey and Hayley, yeah, just like giggle about it a little bit and then get over it. Okay. Back to Zak Bagan. It's literally everybody she runs into that's like, when this is my boyfriend. Well, when I was there, she'd be like, this is my boyfriend Bailey. And they're like, Bailey and Hayley? Oh my gosh.
Because I get it all the time. So I'd also be like, yeah, like, shut up, please. I get it. It rhymes. It's cool.
Anyway,
there was that room. And so I know I fully expected going in not to freak out, or I thought Bailey was going to freak out more, but Bailey just chill like the whole time. And he would be like, this is so cool. And then me over here, that's creepy. Or I would just not say anything and I would just like, no, thanks.
if there's a subgenre though that Bailey likes of horror, which he's not a spooky guy. He's just not. It's dolls. Because he loves Chucky,
Annabelle,
that kind of stuff. Yes, that would make sense that he'd think that a lot of that's cool, especially if there were a ton of spooky dolls and spooky stuff on the walls. That being said, also Bailey's like probably one of the most unbothered people I've ever met. Like when I'm around him, I don't know about like other forms of him, but I feel like a lot of things don't faze him in that kind of way. I don't know about that though.
Yeah, you're right.
Because I've never watched a horror movie with him or anything, so I'm not close to Bailey. I'm only close to Hayley. It would be weird if I was too. So
yeah,
I would feel some type of way if you were close to like my fill in the blank here. Anyway,
So there was that room. I'm going in chronological order as much as I can remember. So there was that.
I've fucked up every other chronological order that you've had.
Yeah, so there was that room, that demon room. And then a lot of the smaller ones I don't remember. I know there was this one room with a bed in it, and it was about the death of this guy who owned like is it a hostel? No. It's one of those places where like you go to basically have sex with women.
Brothel,
Thank you. But he didn't die too long ago. But basically he died in this bed, and the bed was in that room. That same It's
ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. It was so creepy because so you walk into the room and it's like one of those beds that at the end there's like this like piece of it's like it had one of those TVs that come out. So it was the bed, and then we're just looking around, and then on the walls of every room it has like news articles or like document authentication, like everything. So you just are looking around at all these rooms and you're like, oh, here's this, here's that, whatever. And then all of a sudden everybody gets in the room, and then we just slowly see this TV just rise from the thing. And then each room has like speakers where Zach just starts talking to us in his Ghost Adventure voice. He's in this room, blah, 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 died. Did it have is this bed cursed? Yeah. Sometimes it was funny.
Every bed that someone died in is cursed.
So they said that they think the bed's cursed because it's not Kendrick Lamar. It's the basketball player that was married to
Kobe.
No, that was married to one of the Kardashians. Courtney? No, Chloe.
Lamar Odom.
Yes. And he went to this brothel. He paid for 2 women to like have like good times with, and just didn't do anything with them and just stayed in that bed like all day. And then he like said that like weird things were happening to him, and like he just wasn't himself. And then he claims that the owner was like trying to kill him, which is the guy that died after that situation. But basically the guy died in that bed from, I can't remember. It was an overdose. Yeah, I don't remember. But it was just really strange.
Lamar Odom.
Yes.
Lamar Odom. Okay. I Googled it.
I was like, I think it's Lamar or something.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I know who that is. He was on Celebrity Big Brother.
Fun fact.
Do I know him from sports? Absolutely not. But I do know him from Big Celebrity.
But yeah, so there was that room. And then another one of the big rooms that I remember, it also is creepy. You walk into this room and it's set up an old-timey doctor's office. And there's screens and like speakers going that they're going to start talking in a second. And there's just stuff all over the walls, like stuff that he used or whatever. And then Zach comes on and this is the place of Dr. Kevorkian, who basically there was this guy. He was a pathologist, and he assisted and he did assist suicide and with terminally ill patients. And Zach just like talks about him a little bit, and he would do a lot of the euthanasia in the back of his Volkswagen van.
Oh my gosh.
And it was one of those like 70s vans, and it just had a bed in the back, and and that's just where these people would die. And he was trying really hard to basically make it legal to do assisted suicide in the medical field. And he ended up, what was it? It was like 130 people that he killed. And it didn't become an issue with the law until a lot of patients that weren't terminally ill started dying in his care. And people were saying that there were never any sessions where they saw like a therapist or a doctor to confirm that they knew what they were signing up for.
Yeah.
And that they actually wanted to die. So that's part A of that room, right? Then there's a doorway that you go through, and in that room is the van.
Oh, how is the van in the house?
I don't have proof, but the whole ass Volkswagen van was in this room, and it was definitely a car. And there was certificates everywhere for authentication, and Zach just had all the proof for it. And it's fucked up because they had it set up exactly as it would have been when he was killing someone. They had a mannequin on a bed in the back with the side door open,
Oh my God.
and it was playing like the music. And then Zach comes over the intercom speaker thing, and he said, the music you're listening to is from his personal collection. Cause he also had like artwork and like journals from Dr. Kevorkian that he got. And the music that we were listening to was the music that he would play before he like injected his patients. And he was like, this is the last thing that they would ever hear before they died. And it was like classical. It was creepy. That one gave me the ick.
You know how they got the car in there is they had to take it apart and put it back together.
Yeah, for sure.
There was no door that could fit that car in there unless you went into a garage or something. Then they had to take that car apart, pull it into that room, and put it back together again. That's fucking wild.
And then I'm trying to think. So then you exit that way, and then it's basically just this long dark hallway, and the rooms on either side that you go into. And so there was that one. This area, we both would love. I did. I found it intriguing, but also very creepy. It's the serial killer section. So you walk in, and there's like glass cases everywhere. And there was a full replica of Alcatraz in another room. And he had it like separated by serial killers. So he had Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, ladies and gentlemen. But he had a lot of he had hair from Richard Ramirez. He had clothes. And Zach had communicated and got most of this stuff from his wife. Richard Ramirez.
Gosh.
Yeah. And then he had the text messages displayed between him and the wife. And I thought it was funny.
That's wild.
This man has so much documentation just to prove that things are real.
He probably has to, because people will probably be coming for him being like,
oh yeah,
why do you have fake stuff? The other problem is that, okay, great job for the text messages, but that could be text with anybody.
True.
And you could put the name on the top of Holly Ramirez or whatever her name.
He had letters, all that type of stuff. And then he had another case dedicated to Gacy. There was a few others that I didn't recognize. He had Gacy's artwork with like his signature on it. And there was a case dedicated to Bundy.
There always is.
And it had, the way he had it set up, so he had Bundy's actual kit that he used, his murder kit.
The actual kit or a kit like his kit?
The actual kit.
Okay. How? I don't know. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a skeptic at heart. And to me, I'd be like, how did you really get Ted Bundy's? Because I don't know how old he is, but he must have only been like 20 something when that was all happening.
So my thing is, he just like forms connections with all these people, and he's been in Ghost Adventures and stuff. And then I don't think there's many people trying to buy that.
I think you'd be surprised. A lot of people.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. He also has a lot of money.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people have the funds to buy that, except for...
Yeah, so he had the kit, and then he had the ski mask that he used, or one of them that he used. And they had it set up over this like mannequin head. And he was like, look into his eyes, blah, blah, blah. This is what a lot of people... Yeah, they gave me the ick. Yeah.
Yeah, that's icky.
I was like, okay, that's a little much. And then like you walk further in, and then there was a whole entire room dedicated to Manson. Those are the main ones I remember. And then there was, I think, another one that was really small. He had a few smaller ones, but I was like, I don't recognize these ones. But the part that was like creepy in that room was, so he also had some of Manson's like artwork, lots of pictures of him, like articles, whatever. And he had this little box, and it had a piece of bone and like ashes.
What is it?
They're Charles Manson's.
Oh my gosh.
Zak Bagan's whole thing was like, I can say that I'm the final resting place of Charles Manson.
I think the other part about like the serial killer part, it's cool to see things and that kind of stuff, but he's almost like glorifying them.
Yeah.
And that's icky to me as well. And that's like maybe where a lot of this is also rubbing me the wrong way, is like, he's just on the final resting place with Charles Manson. Like, he murdered people. Like, he did terrible things to people.
Yeah.
And so did Dahmer and Gacy and all the other people that you mentioned. So the fact that he's like making shrines basically to them is wild to me.
Yeah.
Which
I can see
also,
that.
you know me, I'm like that kind of stuff's icky to me.
Yeah. You're definitely you like true crime, but you are definitely that person that's don't glorify the killer.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about the killers. I want to tell the stories of the victims.
Exactly. Anyway, but yeah, so there's that room, and I don't know why you would want this, but one of the artworks that he had of Manson's was his artwork that he did when he was in prison, and apparently he hated it, and so he peed on it. And I was like, why would you want that? And they had that room, and then we did go in a room later that was dedicated to Ed Gein.
Okay.
So he got his own little room. And
his own room?
There was like pictures on the walls, and there was a cauldron. It was basically set up to look like a creepy like barn. And there was a cauldron in the middle of the room that was in a case. And it was the cauldron that he used.
The actual one?
Yep. And yeah, that was gross. And then there was a thing on the wall that was also covered by acrylic. And it was real life skin, human skin. I forgot what it was supposed to be, but I was like, oh, that's gross.
We have talked about Ed Gein in this podcast.
Maybe.
Because of a movie, I brought Ed Gein's story.
Oh, was it because we did the Texas Chainsaw movie? Because we watched that movie together.
Yeah.
The new one from Netflix.
I did bring that true crime, though, with me to a movie. I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, that one was a little icky. This room, I don't want to say it was cool because part of it was cool because it was basically a room with you go in it and it's like the main part of the room, and then there was two other rooms within the room. So the main part of the room, it was dedicated to dead celebrities. So the very first, as soon as you walk in, it's just like this, it's wall to wall. There's stuff on this wall, stuff in this wall. There's like cases on this side, and then on the other side, it was like just little tiny cases. And the very first one, it was a flat, like up against the wall, and it was a holy leather jacket, like trench coat almost. And it was the one that Brandon Lee wore in The Crow when he died.
Oh.
So there was that.
Okay.
And then right next to that one was the jacket from What Dreams May Come, that was worn by Robin Williams.
Oh, okay.
And then in the corner, there was a bigger case, and it was on a mannequin, and it was the dress that Sharon Tate wore. And then on the other side of the opposing wall, they had a chair from when Michael Jackson died. If I remember correctly, the chair's the one of the doctor sat in or something. I don't know. That there was like some stains on it, and the lady was trying to explain what stain was, and I was like, I don't want to know.
I can't think about that one.
Yeah. And there was like, I forgot the guy's name, but there was another celebrity, it was an older celebrity. They had like his pill bottles, like his actual pill bottles, some of his IDs and whatever. They also had Patrick Swayze's passport, like other stuff. And then this one is where I was like, that's fucked up. There's two stories. So there's one that I found while researching, and it was not there when I was there. So I'm assuming that it just got so controversial that they took it out because it was not there when I was there. That's one part I'm going to say. And then the part that's still there, I think it's a little fucked up. but they're Paul Walker's glasses from his car accident when he died. And they're facing like outward, like if you're wearing them. And the shtick was like, look through these glass, they're like eye level. So you can look through them. And that's like the last thing that he saw when he died. And I was like, I don't like that.
All of those look through them or look into the eyes of the ski mask. Like, those are all like very gimmicky, but also pretty icky. I would agree. That's snake.
Yeah, so that one made me icky. And the one that I found on research, apparently there was a Polaroid picture that was taken by an officer that was at the scene when Chris Farley died. And there was a Polaroid picture of his dead body
Oh my gosh.
that was in the museum, apparently. But that was not there when I was there. So I was like, they might have taken it out or someone might have made it up. I don't know. But allegedly. But yeah, so there was that part. And then there's like room A and room B. So room A, we went in first after within that room. And that one was cool. It was like just props from movies. So they had like Ghostbusters. They had the suit from Ghostbusters that Spangler wore. They had the actual ghost trap thing. They had poltergeist stuff, and they had Chucky. They had the real doll that they used in one of them with all the authentication documents, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I like this room.
Get behind this room. This room's fun.
They also had Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. And that was a small room. It was over real fast. And then you come back
Was
out.
it all horror movies or was it other movies too, or just horror?
The ones that I named, that's all that there was in there. And then so after that room, you go into another room and we learn about James Dean and his car and it was called Little Bastard and how it was cursed. There's allegedly cursed. And apparently the car, like no one knew the whereabouts of this car. Like it was supposed to be destroyed, but then there was no record of it being destroyed and no one could find it.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have the whole thing. He only has a piece of it.
Okay.
It's like an axle or something, and it shows the serial numbers. And if you look up the serial number or whatever, there's again authentic documents and everything. But the serial number basically confirmed that it is a part of that car.
Wow.
Specifically. And it was behind, there was a few rooms where it had like acrylic glass like all around. And Zach over the speakers would talk about the thing. And then he would be like, if you don't want to see it, you can exit the room now. If you want to, then you can. And then it like raises up like these things and it's there, which kind of adds like some like suspense.
Definitely make me paranoid for sure.
Yeah, exactly. There's that. And then there's this trick door that we go through at some point, and we're like waiting in this hallway, and there's like bookcases, and up top these bookcases are just like these mannequin heads just staring at you. And so creepy. I forgot where they were from. They were from like some haunted wax museum or something, or some
House of Wax.
No, was it the Winchester?
Oh.
It might have been the Winchester, but they were like in closets. Like they were just like tucked away, and they took them out and put them in the museum. But we're like up against the wall, and I was the dumb one that was like in the front. So I was like up against this like wall, and all of a sudden it's like this bookcase that opens. So I was like, oh God. No, it opened outwards.
Oh.
So I didn't fall, but I was just like, it scared me because a loud noise happens before it opens. Right. So yeah, that was a little scary. And then you're like in this foyer, and you can see like upstairs, like there's like railings and stuff, and there's just like tons of hallways, and it's very maze and very overwhelming in this house.
I bet, yeah.
And there's just stuff everywhere, just moving or whatever. And then when we were waiting in that foyer area, I like saw this painting, and it looked old. Okay. And I just remember looking at it, and I was like, that's weird. And it had a slash through it. Okay. Like someone like stabbed it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck? I was just staring at it for so long, and I was like, that's creepy. And then we get whisked away to another room, and we went to this like circus area where they talked about there was this fire that someone caused, and then there was just specimen jars, and it's very creepy. Yeah, and the people were like, "Are these real things?" And the lady was, and our tour guide said that it is unfortunate, but they are like they're real. And there was like a heart, there was like the two-headed, yeah, all like all the normal like freak show deformities. Yeah, they had all of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was in like a jar, and it's just really creepy. And I was like, oh, like I don't like this. All I could think about was American Horror Story Freak Show.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of right now.
And then they have you go up like these stairs. And basically, she did warn us that it was going to be like a fun house kind of thing. So you're like walking through, and I don't remember much, but this is about when I was like at my wit's end, because I was like, this is overwhelming. I can't. So I just was trying to get through this section as fast as possible. And that's when all the animatronics or the little things were just standing there, and they were like, she was like, if anything touches you, it's not human. It's not an actor. There's no actors in this part. And we're like, I'm just trying to hurry up and get through it. We get through it. And this is where it gets fuzzy, because I don't remember much after this, other than we ended up going into this room. We're like standing outside this hallway, because now we're upstairs, by the way, because we went up some stairs. But we went into this hallway, and our tour guide was saying that in this room is Peggy. And Peggy is a doll that is haunted. And basically, she told us a little bit about Peggy and how she was bought in like an antique shop or something. And Zach kind of put her along with the other dolls, but then like things started happening. So then she got her own little case to contain her. And our tour guide said that when we go in, she said that there is a spirit box going on at all times, like we're flipping through radio channels. And she said, when you enter the room, you say, hi, Peggy. When you exit the room, you say, bye, Peggy. And and I was just like, oh, fuck. Anyway, but yeah, so I thought that was creepy. And like and it was an optional room. And so you go in if you want to. And so we all pile in, and it's like a tiny ass room, and there's just dolls all lined up, just like facing you. And then in the middle of this big case is Peggy. And the tour guide was like, we're all saying hi. And basically she was like, is there anything you want to say to them, Peggy? Do you like having friends in here? Blah, blah, blah. And then this one girl, I shit you not, this girl in front of us, which is the girl that I said that was with her friends that was scared, she asks it to say her name back to her.
Say her name.
I shit you not. It said like Mia, and her name was fucking Mia.
Oh,
and we all,
my God.
We were all just
I'm
like,
out. Bye, Peggy.
I was like, all right, that's enough for me. I'm out. Like,
adios.
And then I was like, okay. I was like, I need to get out of this room right now. And mind you, the whole time at this point I'm there, I just feel this heaviness on my chest the whole time. Like my heart racing, it's pounding. Like I had this fat ass headache like the whole time. And every single room, there was always some video recording of like past customers, like people, like visitors that were fainting. And in the Dr. Kevorkian room, the first room that we were in of his, they showed a video from like one of the cameras that's all throughout the place. And this girl, like, she's just standing there with this group of people, and she fucking fainted. She fainted. And then they were trying to wake her up. And as soon as she woke up or came to, she just starts fucking screaming, like blood curdling scream. And she's like she's like pushing herself back and trying to get up against the wall. Like she was just like freaking out. And I was like, oh my God. And then so the whole time I just kept thinking, don't pass out, don't pass out, don't pass out.
I do not want to be on one of those videos.
Exactly. I was like, I also didn't want to break the floor. It's a 1938 house. Thank you. I don't know how good that wood is. It was a lot of creaking when we were walking.
Literally me.
It was a lot of creaking.
Okay, but here's the thing. I could imagine that this place is incredibly overstimulating.
Oh, yes.
From what you're telling me, I probably would have not made it the whole way through because I would have been overstimulated as fuck with the sounds, the music, Zak Bagan, the person walking through, every fucking thing on the wall, the certificate. Everything seemed like it was probably just another thing to overstimulate you.
There was a lot. It was very overwhelming.
But yeah.
And yeah, so what was it? After that room, the Peggy room. So I was just like trying to get out of there, and I was like, don't forget to say bye. Don't
Bye,
forget to say
Peggy.
bye. Yeah. So I was like, bye, Peggy. And then we left. And then there's this other room. It was very quick and small, and it was an optional room because she basically told us inside the room is a real life decapitated head.
Oh my God.
I did.
Was it?
It was. Yeah. But basically you like,
Well,
it was like a U-shaped room. So you walk in and it's halls like against you. And then obviously you're forced to turn this way. The head was in a box on this side. Do you get what I'm saying? So like
like
if
when
you
turn,
didn't like once you turn, you would have to look dead left to see it. Or you could just
couldn't
keep
see it.
looking right and just not see it at all and just continue through. But yeah,
Was it in like a jar?
it was in a case. It was like mummified or dried out because it was I forgot the story behind it. There was some history. I was trying to remember it for you, but I could not. From what I remember, it was some guy that was basically accused of witchcraft from like back in the old days.
The Salem days.
Yeah. I literally was like quick glance, just and then left. And then I had a room dedicated to Ed and Lorraine Warren. Yeah. So a lot of the demon ones freak me out the most. As they should. Yeah. But so they had like the crucifixes that they had the recorder that they used. They were also playing their audio recordings, their actual audio recordings. And then behind this glass case was a rocking chair. And it was the rocking chair that was from the case that The Devil Made Me Do It Conjuring movies based off of.
Okay.
I can't remember what the name was, but that was in there. And yeah, the demonic audio recordings just gets me because I don't like it.
Yeah. Wild.
So I was like out that room. And then one of the big rooms that we went into, it was another 2-parter room. So you go in and it's like all dark and stuff. And there's a bunch of information on the walls about it. And I was like, oh, I've heard of this. We were basically going to be learning about the Dybbuk box. You know what a Dybbuk box is?
Yes.
Okay. So for those of you that don't know what a Dybbuk box is, it is a Jewish wine cabinet, basically, that is said to contain a malicious spirit that is capable of human possession. Long story short, we learned about it, like where it came, like where this specific one came from, and like the legend behind it. It's along with like Jewish mythology or folklore or whatnot. The movie The Possession was based off of the Dybbuk box.
Just
the one that they have,
in
yes.
general.
That the Dybbuk box is considered the most haunted item in the world. Which again, I was like, oh fuck me. But this one, Bailey can attest to this. I didn't realize it affected me this much, but it did. Mm-hmm. The one that's at the museum in 2001, it was purchased by a guy from an estate sale, and it came from a Jewish Holocaust survivor. Yeah. And it came literally with the warning, do not open it. Yeah. Do not open it. This man, obviously, yes, of course, he did not fucking listen, and he opened it. And he started having, and he opened it and documented what was inside. Inside the box was 2 1920 pennies, a lock of brown and blonde hair, a small statue, a wine goblet, a rosebud, and a small candle holder. That's it. Doesn't seem scary, right?
Well, but I know it's scary.
After he opened it, he started having nightmares of this, what they described as, quote, old hag that was like coming to him in his nightmares and like trying to hurt him, whatever. And he, lovely son, by the way, thought that since his mother didn't open it, he would give it to her as a gift and then she'd be fine. So he gave the box to his mom as a gift that same day she had a stroke.
Oh my God.
I believe, if I remember correctly, she had a stroke and like in a heart attack, like same day.
That's crazy.
And then she was alive. She survived. And then he basically tried to bury the box and get rid of it. And then Zak found out that he had it and said that it took a lot of convincing, but he did give it to Zak. And the next room is where it was. And it basically said, it's optional. If you don't want to go in, it's fine. I almost did not go in there. Almost. Because it creeped me out so much. Like just the thought of this box. Because I believe in that shit. I'm like, so also before we even went in, like they showed us footage of when he did get the box and he put it in this acrylic container. And I don't know, I think it was an episode of Ghost Adventures they were doing during quarantine. Because a lot of the Ghost Adventures quarantine they did in the museum.
Okay.
Specifically with the objects in there. So Zak and Post Malone were in this room with the box, and Zak was like, I'm going to open it.
Posty was like, I'm out, deuces.
So, right. And then Zak took it out of the container. I can't remember if he actually opened it or not, but they like, in the recording, but he all of a sudden started getting like angry and like Post Malone was like really freaking out and whatnot. And then apparently after the fact, Post Malone he felt like he was cursed because like he got into a car accident. Like there was just a bunch of like bad things happening to him in like a short span of time. And then she ended up having to get like saged, like christened, whatever, prayed over, and then he was fine. And I was like, oh my God. So, I know, but so me and Bailey did go in the room and our tour guide went around and went to the other door, which is the door that we would exit out of. But she literally said, walk in and it's a room that you just walk around the box real quick and then out. And she said, don't stop, just go. Don't do anything. So
my God.
I was like, okay. So literally, and there's 2 in there, by the way.
Yeah.
There was 2. There was the big Mama Jam box and there was a little one. Yeah. The little one was fine. That one was like not as bad. But like we walk in and you walk to the right, there's the little box and its box. And then you're walking around the big one and it's inside an acrylic piece and and that is inside another bigger acrylic piece with a Jewish prayer like all around it. And I was walking around and I couldn't even look at it, Kathryn. Like I literally I glanced and I was like, nope, can't do it. Like it freaked me out. I don't know what it was. And then I didn't notice it, but later that day or a few days later, Bailey, I think I was telling my dad about it or something. And Bailey was like, you completely changed in that room. Like you went white. Like you like turned so pale. And he was like, I thought you were going to pass out or something. He was like, your whole demeanor changed when we entered that room. And I was like, I hated it.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was out that bitch.
Tour guide went around and she was like, I'm not going in, but you guys can just.
Yeah. The girl that was like into the show, the super fan, I would say, she asked the tour guide what the writing is. That's how I know it's a Jewish prayer, is because the tour guide said it was a Jewish prayer. And then she said And then without even skipping a beat, she said, "Do not ask me to read it. I refuse." The other one that freaked me out was it's like nearing the end of the tour. There was one room that was dedicated to this lady who was like obsessed with like paranormal findings, and she ended up like dying like next to all of her equipment.
Oh.
And they had it like set up. Like they had they had like Polaroids from when she was trying to like record possession. So she like tried to get herself possessed basically, or she felt possessed, and her whole family thought she was crazy. And she had Polaroids of like she was naked, and they were just Polaroids of her like naked, and she was just frail as can be. Like she was skinny, and they were real fucking Polaroids that she took. And I was like, this is creepy. And one of them was like burned.
Wow.
And I forgot what it was, but those pictures were taken right before she died.
That's crazy.
It was creepy. And then they had a mannequin set up in like a rocking chair with a bunch of like EMF detectors going off with the headset. And it was just really creepy. And I swear I saw the rocking chair move, and I was like, nope, I'm out. I'm out, this bitch. Nope. And then one of the last like main sections that creeped me out was we go into this room, and it's a similar setup to the James Dean thing where it has the acrylic thing and the things are down. And we learn about Demon House, which was a case that happened in Indiana. And it was a mom and her 3 kids. I think they were all 3 under the age of 10. And she was convinced that her kids were possessed. And they showed, no, I think they're all still alive, if I remember correctly. None of them died. But they were trying to document it. I don't know why this sounds familiar, but I don't know. But I think they did a Ghost Adventure episode specifically for Demon House. But there was a caseworker because the kids had like bruises on them and stuff. So there was like CPS called on the mom and whatnot. And the CPS worker witnessed the 9-year-old, witnessed the 9-year-old walk up the wall backwards.
On her feet or on all fours?
All fours.
Oh my gosh.
And it traumatized her so much that she quit and moved.
Me. I would be so out of that bitch. I would be like, you know what? Not for me.
And she was like going through therapy and all this stuff. And Zach ended up interviewing her, I believe, for the episode. And then she was like, I'm working with it. She said she was like, I'm working through it. She was like, I can't explain what I saw. But she said it was just so dramatic. I was like, that's scary. So after we learned about that, they ended up demolishing the house in 2014. And the workers that were demolishing it, they ended up like leaving in a hurry and then not coming back. There was that. And behind the little roll-up things, because we had a choice to look or not, it was the original staircase to the basement, which is where all the activity was coming from. It was like, they call it the stairway to hell. So like they had the staircase and they had like the dirt that was from there or something. And I don't know why, but it really creeped me out. I was just like, I like looked for a second and I was like, I don't like this vibe it's giving me, man. I didn't like it at all.
That's crazy. Crazy that they were able to get a okay, I know they have a car in there, but to get a staircase from a house, like that seems crazy to be able to get that.
And then that was basically the end of the tour. And then it led us there. I mean, there was definitely some like smaller rooms. I just can't remember. There was one about this like actress that died. I don't know why I want to say Natalie Portman, but that's not correct.
She's alive and well.
Yeah, I think it is a Natalie though, but she was an actress and she died like back in like the 90s, maybe 80s. I can't remember, but she was like on a boat and she ended up falling over and dying. Like the case sounded familiar, but I think BuzzFeed Unsolved did a thing on it because it's an unsolved, like what happened to her, if it was like foul play or whatever. There was a room dedicated to her, and that was like basically the end of it. And then we got led back into the little foyer area where I saw that painting. And then we learned about the things in that area, and the painting was one of them. And the painting was a belonging. It was a painting that was in Hitler's house.
Oh my God.
And the slash mark was from an American soldier.
Whoa.
It was in the house where he like killed himself, where they like found him. And I was like, why was I staring at it for so long?
Crazy.
Yeah, but that was basically the end. And then they take you through this little area that leads you through this gallery of creepy artwork. And it was by, I think the guy died or something happened to him, but there was some creepy story behind the artwork and like his like delve into madness or something. And they were very creepy artworks. And I just remember thinking, oh my God, this is scary. And you just go through and then you end up in this bigger room that's like, it was a lot like the waiting room when we first got there, where it just had trinkets everywhere, but nothing really significant. It was still creepy to look at, but you like walk through and then they had this big like crystal. They had this big crystal chair, and above it, it says, sit in the chair to cleanse the demon, or basically just cleanse the bad. And it said, close your eyes, take a deep breath in and out, and just cleanse your soul and whatever.
Yeah.
So I like sat in it, and then me and Bailey were like the last two to walk, because then right after that, it leads you into the gift shop, because of course it does. But as I got up to go through the doorway, mind you, like 10 other people had walked through this doorway, taller than me. And so I'm like walking through, and I swear it felt the fake spider webs. It felt like it just brushed my face, like almost my full face. And I like looked back so fast, and Bailey was like, what's wrong? Because he was behind me, and I was like looking up like all over the doorway, and there was nothing there. And I was like, what just touched me? Like it freaked me out, Kathryn. And like in the gift shop, they have like crystals and sage and all the stuff to cleanse the bad spirits away and whatnot. And then me and Bailey got 2 t-shirts and a shot glass. And some things I forgot to mention because I just remembered them. There is a section, it's only for VIPs. In the 70s, an actress's family, I forgot her name. They said it during the tour, but it's not online anywhere. I tried to find it. But her and her brother and her family lived in this house. And her and her brother remember as kids down in the basement, there being like rituals taking place. Like her parents are like demonic shit going on. And so at the time that we were there, VIPs were allowed down there. So me and Bailey, we didn't go. The tour guide stayed with us and literally said, like, when you go down, it's dark. She said it's one way in, one way out. And it was there was a spirit box going off down there, but it's because they're filming Ghost Adventures down there, or they're going to be. They're currently they're investigating it because it was newfound information recently. So they're like doing research, and the tour guide said, go down, like basically do a little loop and then come right back up. She said, don't stop. If you hear something like talking, if you hear something from the spirit box, don't respond. They were like, don't, she was like, don't say anything. Like she was serious. She was just like, don't say anything at all. Like she just back up. And I was like, oh, that's creepy. And then, yeah, the VIP, I guess, would have been slightly worth it, but also it was already a 3-hour tour. The only difference was sometimes they got to go first into things, but that was like 1 or 2 rooms. And then they got to do a little extra stuff. Like the first room we went in, where they got to go down the hallway, the Annalise exorcism room, they got to go in that little room and then come right back out. And then the basement. I can't think of any other rooms at the moment, but yeah, they got to go a little closer to things. Yeah. But other than that, I don't think it was worth it. I think it was like $20 more or $30 more, something like that. But for all of that, for that 3-hour thing, and it's only $47,
That's a lot
it
of
wasn't,
stuff.
and I didn't even tell you everything because I don't remember everything. That was just a handful of things.
It
But
would be impossible to have told us everything.
yeah, it would. But that was like the main one, the main things. There is one thing that's cool. It's creepy. I don't know. I say that I want to do it. Would I ever? I don't know. But they offer flashlight tours. So you go through the museum by yourself. There's no tour guide with a flashlight and an EMF thing, like a ghost thing. Like
It sounds fun though.
it sounds so fun, but just like the thought of it, like I was like, we'll get fucking lost. Do we get a map? Because this place was so intricate.
I
And
think that you might get out faster though. You might skip things.
oh, true.
You might get scared and scoot along faster somewhere else. Or I think that it would actually be a faster tour if you did it that way, because you might not. You might be like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
that's
like a little
creepy.
scared.
Yeah,
That would be interesting for sure, but that would be way scary.
I got scared just with 10 other people plus a tour guide
Yeah.
in broad daylight with all the lights on.
Anyway, is that everything?
That's all I got for you.
That's really cool that you got to experience that.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
like
still
reliving it
scared
now.
about it? Are you still scared about it?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I think it's fine. I think it's been enough time that you're probably not cursed. Do you feel cursed in your day-to-day life?
No,
Do you think that you would be able to catch on pretty quickly if you were cursed, or do you think it would take a while for you to be like, oh, a lot of bad things have been happening recently?
okay, considering I feel like it might take me a minute, but if someone said, "Are you like cursed or something?" then I'd be like, "Oh, this happened and this happened. Oh my god." Yeah.
Thank you for bringing us all of that. Thank you for paying $45 so that all the Spooky Babes could go on the trip. And
You're welcome.
and thank you for giving us the highlights. If you didn't remember it, it probably wasn't that important. Also, allegedly, all of this stuff is there. And it was there when she went, so as far as she remembers. So, just to cover all of our bases. Do you have anything else to tell the Spooky Babes before we go?
Ooh,
Are you excited for
Spooky-
next week?
I am excited for next week.
It's a non-Hayley week.
It's a non-Hayley week.
Anyway, sorry. Did you have anything to tell the Spooky Babes before we let him go?
Spooky babes, I hope this wasn't too scary for you. I would recommend it. It was pretty cool. Just know that, just know your boundaries, know your limits with things. It's definitely not for everyone. If you just go in, just always think happy thoughts. I would definitely go with someone, not just go by yourself with randoms. I feel like that would make it worse. And just
At least not
enjoy.
buddy.
Yeah, just enjoy your time there. It was fun. It's hasn't caused any deaths that I know of. You should be fine. But yeah. Anyway, that's it. Back to you, Kathryn.
Okay. Spooky Babes. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming and joining us today. We really appreciate you coming and listening to our podcast. If you guys are listening to on an audio platform, please give us 5 stars and leave us a little note if you can. That really helps us. I hope you loved this little virtual trip that you got to go on to Vegas to Zak Bagan's haunted museum. And you can tell all your friends. We will vouch for you that you got to actually go. We will lie for you. We will lie through the skin of your teeth. We'll say we went with you.
Oh my God. We do a meet and greet at Zak Bagan's museum.
10 lucky listeners get to come with us on the tour through Zak Bagan's museum. If we had enough money, we'd splurge for the VIP for you. Anyway, that being said, we care about you. We love you very much. We hope that your week and I don't know, whenever you're listening to this, is going well. And if it's not, go to sleep and try again tomorrow. But you can't quit on us. You gotta stay here if I gotta stay here. And if Hayley's gotta stay here, you gotta stay here. Okay. And remember, the world's a better place with you in it, and we will see you
in your nightmares. My name is Zak Bagan. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. Now I set off on a quest to capture what I must. Oh my god, to capture what I once saw onto video. These are our ghost adventures.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.